Welcome, curious minds, to another episode where we unravel the mysteries of our amazing brains.
Jamie, I feel like my brain lately is less amazing and more like a tangled ball of yarn, or maybe a dozen browser tabs open at once, all shouting for my attention.
Ah, Alex, you've just perfectly described a feeling many of us share. It's like we're living in a world designed to constantly pull our focus in a million different directions. Have you ever been trying to really concentrate on something, say building an intricate Lego set or baking a new recipe, and suddenly your phone buzzes or a thought about what you need to do tomorrow pops into your head and poof, your concentration vanishes?
Absolutely. It's like I'm trying to catch a butterfly, but there are 100 other brightly colored birds flying by, and suddenly I'm chasing all of them and none of them. I feel like my brain is just overflowing.
Exactly. That overflowing feeling, that constant tug-of-war for our thoughts, is what we're diving into today. Our guest, a brilliant thinker named Daniel Goleman, points out that in our modern world, attention isn't just a nice to have, it's like a superpower. And here's the most exciting part. It's a superpower we can all train and make stronger.
Wait, really? Because sometimes it feels like I'm just stuck with whatever level of focus I woke up with that day. Like some days I'm a laser beam and other days I'm a flickering candle.
It's not about being stuck, Alex. Think of your attention as a muscle, a mental muscle. Just like you can train your arm muscles by lifting weights, you can train your attention muscle to become more resilient, more powerful, and more agile. Our mission today is to understand what this attention muscle is, why it's so important, and most importantly, how we can make it stronger.
A mental muscle. I like that. So what's the big idea? Why is this attention muscle so crucial right now?
Well, think of it this way. Imagine you're a master chef. To create a truly amazing dish, you need to focus. You need to pay attention to the exact measurements, the temperature of the oven, the smell of the spices, the texture of the ingredients. If your attention is scattered, you might burn the food, forget an ingredient, or just end up with something mediocre.
Been there with my own cooking experiments.
Right. And it's the same with anything we want to do well in life, whether it's learning a new skill, solving a tricky problem, or even just having a really good conversation with someone. Our ability to direct our inner spotlight, to choose what we focus on and keep it there, is what drives success and helps us feel more engaged and content. Daniel Goleman calls this entire situation an attention crisis.
An attention crisis? That sounds pretty serious. What does he mean?
He means that we live in a world where everything, from our pocket-sized computers to the endless stream of online content, is constantly vying for our focus. These devices are brilliantly designed to pull us in and keep us engaged, often by giving us little bursts of novelty or information. But the side effect is that our natural ability to sustain attention is getting weaker, like a muscle that's not being used.
So it's like we're in a giant amusement park, and every ride is trying to pull us onto it, and we forget why we even came to the park in the first place.
A perfect analogy, Alex. And when we're constantly pulled in different directions, our attention becomes a scarce resource, almost like clean water in a desert. It's precious, but it's harder and harder to hold on to. But here's the good news. We don't have to just accept it. We can actively fight back against these attention pirates.
How do we fight back? Do we need to throw our phones in a river?
Not necessarily. It starts with understanding how attention works. Goleman talks about finding your golden zone of attention. You see, it's not about having maximum attention all the time. Imagine trying to catch a ball. If you're too relaxed, you might miss it because you're not paying enough attention. But if you're too tense, too tightly wound, you might also miss it because you're overthinking and stiff. The golden zone is that sweet spot in the middle.
So, like in a video game, if the game is too easy, I get bored. If it's too hard, I get frustrated and quit. But if it's just the right challenge, I can play for hours and feel totally immersed.
Exactly. That feeling of being totally immersed, where time seems to fly and you're performing at your best, is what psychologists call flow. It's the optimal state of attention. In this flow state, your skill matches the challenge and your attention is completely absorbed in the task. It's exhilarating and incredibly productive. Think of a musician completely lost in their music, or an artist totally focused on their painting.
Wow, that flow state sounds amazing. I definitely want more of that. But what about the opposite? What if the challenge feels too overwhelming and I just feel totally stressed out and scattered?
Ah, that's what Goleman calls frazzle. It's the opposite of flow. If flow is like smoothly sailing a boat with just the right amount of wind, frazzle is like being caught in a storm with waves crashing over the deck and you're frantically trying to steer while the sails are ripping. When we're frazzled, we're anxious, our attention is scattered, and we can't focus on anything clearly. It's too much pressure, too many demands, and not enough capacity to handle it all.
Yeah, that's definitely how I feel when I have too many things to do and not enough time. Like my brain is trying to spin 100 plates at once and they're all about to crash.
Precisely. And in that state, not only is our efficiency terrible, but it's also exhausting for our minds and bodies. So the goal isn't just to be focused, but to be optimally focused, to find that golden zone and avoid the frazzle.
Okay, so we want the golden zone and to avoid frazzle. Got it. But what about when my mind just wanders? I'm trying to work on something, and suddenly I'm thinking about what I'll have for dinner or that funny video I saw yesterday. Is that always a bad thing?
That's a brilliant question, Alex, because it brings us to a fascinating point about attention, mind wandering. For a long time, we thought mind wandering was just the enemy of focus, something to always suppress. If you're mind wandering, you're not paying attention to what's in front of you, right?
Right. Like if I'm building that Lego set and my mind is wandering, I'm probably putting the wrong pieces together.
True, if it's constant and uncontrolled. But Goleman suggests that moderate mind wandering can actually be a secret ingredient for creativity. Think of it like a scientist in their lab. Sometimes they need to be intensely focused on an experiment, following every step precisely. But other times, they need to step away, let their mind relax, and just let ideas float around freely. Many breakthrough discoveries happen not when they're intensely focused, but when they're in the shower or out for a walk or doing something completely unrelated. Their brain is still working in the background, making new connections without the pressure of direct focus.
So my brain is like a mischievous little assistant that sometimes needs to be given a break to come up with its best ideas.
Exactly. It's about balance. You need periods of intense, directed focus, like gathering all your ingredients and following the recipe. But you also need periods of relaxed, undirected thought, allowing your mental assistant to play and make new connections, like letting the stew simmer slowly and develop its flavors. This is where truly innovative ideas often emerge.
That makes so much sense. So not all distraction is bad. It's like when I'm focused, I'm doing the work. When I'm mind wandering in a healthy way, my brain is doing the behind the scenes magic.
Precisely. It's like a builder who sometimes needs to actively hammer and saw, but other times needs to step back and just gaze at their design, letting new ideas about how to connect different parts emerge. The trick is knowing when to do which.
Okay, so we've talked about what attention is, why it's important, the golden zone and frazzle, and even how mind wandering can be useful. But what about the kinds of attention? Are there different flavors?
There absolutely are, Alex. And this is where Goleman offers a really powerful framework. He says there are 3 essential kinds of focus. And to live a truly rich and effective life, we need to cultivate all 3. Think of it like being a captain of a magnificent ship, embarking on a grand voyage across the ocean.
Ooh, I like being a captain.
Excellent! First, there's inner focus. This is like the captain knowing their own ship inside and out. It's about understanding your own emotions, your values, your strengths, your weaknesses, and what truly matters to you. Without this inner focus, the captain wouldn't know if their ship's engine is running smoothly or if the rudder is properly aligned with their intended destination. You'd be sailing, but without knowing your own true north, without understanding your own inner workings.
So it's about checking your own internal compass and making sure your ship is seaworthy from the inside?
Beautifully put. Without it, you might feel lost, even if you're moving fast. Then there's other focus. This is the captain paying close attention to their crew and to the other ships in the fleet. It's about understanding their feelings, their needs, their perspectives. A good captain knows when their crew is tired, when they're excited, or when they need help. They can read the signals from other ships to coordinate their journey. This is empathy, pure and simple. If you only focus on your own ship, you might crash into other boats or leave your crew feeling unheard and unvalued.
So it's about being aware of the people around you, truly seeing them, and understanding what they might be going through.
Exactly. It's about connecting. And finally, there's outer focus. This is the captain looking out at the vast ocean, studying the weather patterns, observing distant horizons, understanding the currents, and charting the overall course of the entire voyage. It's about seeing the big picture, the larger trends, and how your ship fits into the grand scheme of things. Without outer focus, the captain might navigate perfectly in the short term, but completely miss an approaching storm or an opportunity on a different route, leading to disaster for the entire journey.
Wow, so inner focus is knowing myself, other focus is understanding those around me, and outer focus is seeing the bigger world and where I fit into it.
You've got it. Goleman stresses that you need all three. If you only have inner focus, you might be a great, self-aware individual, but isolated. If you only have other focus, you might be very empathetic, but lack direction. And if you only have outer focus, you might see the big trends, but neglect your own well-being or the needs of those closest to you. The truly excellent captains, the ones who have a fulfilling voyage, are constantly balancing and developing all three.
This is really making sense now. But okay, if attention is a muscle and there are these three kinds of focus, how do we actually train this muscle? Where do I get my mental barbells?
Great question, Alex. This is the core methodology. The mental gym for your attention muscle often starts with something surprisingly simple, your breath. Golem suggests that one of the most powerful ways to strengthen your focus is through what's called mindful breathing practice.
Just breathing?
Yes, just breathing, but with a specific intention. Think of it like this. Your attention is a playful puppy, full of energy and easily distracted, and your breath is like a gentle but firm leash. The goal isn't to tie the puppy down forever, but to learn to gently guide it back when it dashes off.
My brain definitely feels like a puppy sometimes, chasing every squirrel.
Perfect. So, the exercise goes like this. You find a quiet spot, sit comfortably, and simply bring your attention to your breath. Feel the air as it comes in and goes out. Notice the rise and fall of your chest or belly. You don't need to breathe in any special way, just observe it.
And then what? My puppy brain is probably already off chasing that squirrel I mentioned earlier.
And that's exactly where the training happens. You will get distracted. Your mind will wander off, thinking about dinner or tomorrow's tasks or that funny video. That's not a failure. That's the moment of training. When you notice your mind has wandered, gently, without judgment, bring your attention back to your breath. It's like gently tugging the puppy's leash and guiding it back to your side.
So every time my mind wanders and I bring it back, I'm doing a rep at the mental gym?
Precisely. Each time you gently redirect your attention, you're strengthening those neural pathways in your brain that are responsible for focus and self-control. You're building that mental muscle, rep by rep. Even just 2 minutes of this practice each day can make a remarkable difference over time.
That's so empowering. It's not about being perfect and never getting distracted. It's about the practice of returning.
Exactly. And this practice isn't just for adults. Golem talks about how important it is to start young. He shares an example called Breathing Buddies, where children place a small stuffed animal on their belly and watch it rise and fall with their breath. It's a playful way to teach them that gentle redirection, building their attention muscle from an early age.
That's such a cool image. So beyond the breathing exercise, what are some other ways to help strengthen our focus and get into that golden zone?
Excellent question. Think of it like setting up your workshop for building. One crucial step is creating dedicated focus spaces and no interruption zones. Imagine you're a master builder creating something complex. You wouldn't want people constantly barging in or loud noises disrupting your delicate work. So, you might designate certain times each day, maybe the first hour of your morning or an hour after lunch, where you turn off notifications, close unnecessary tabs, and let others know you're in a focus fort.
So it's not just about what my brain is doing, but also about controlling my environment.
Absolutely. You're actively removing the attention pirates. Another key method is to incorporate micro breaks throughout your day. Imagine you're running a long race. You can't just sprint the entire time. You need strategic moments to refuel and catch your breath. Similarly, after about 50 minutes of focused work, take a 3 to 5 minute break. Step away from your screen, stretch, look out a window, or do a few mindful breaths. These small pauses help reset your attention, prevent frazzle, and keep your mental battery charged.
So, like little pit stops to keep the engine running smoothly instead of overheating?
Exactly. And to cultivate your inner focus, Goleman suggests something like an emotion diary. Not a diary where you pour out all your feelings, but a brief moment at the end of the day to simply observe and record your emotional state. Just notice, today I felt a bit stressed, then calm, then excited. By simply observing without judgment, you become more aware of your inner landscape, learning what triggers different emotions and how they affect your focus. This self-awareness is crucial for knowing when you're approaching frazzle and when you need to adjust.
That's like giving myself a daily weather report for my own inner world. It helps me prepare for the day ahead or understand what's happening in the moment.
It truly does. And finally, remember our discussion about mind wandering? Don't be afraid to actively schedule mind wandering time. Give yourself 10 to 15 minutes each day to simply relax, listen to music, go for a walk, or just stare out the window. This isn't wasted time. It's dedicated time for your brain to make those creative connections and prevent mental burnout.
So instead of feeling guilty when my mind wanders, I can sometimes say, this is my brain's creative playtime.
Precisely. It's about intentionality. You're choosing when to focus and when to let go. And speaking of choice and self-control, this brings us to a famous experiment that highlights the power of managing our impulses for long-term focus and success, the marshmallow test.
Oh, I've heard of that. The one where children are given a marshmallow and told if they wait, they'll get two?
That's the one. It's a classic example of delayed gratification. The children who were able to wait, to resist the immediate temptation of one marshmallow for the greater reward of two later, often showed better academic performance, healthier relationships, and more success in adulthood. This isn't just about marshmallows. It's about the ability to control an impulse, to maintain focus on a future goal, even when there's an immediate, tempting distraction. It's a direct link to the strength of our attention muscle and our self-control.
So teaching ourselves, or even younger curious minds, to wait, to choose the bigger reward later, is actually another way of strengthening our focus?
Absolutely. It teaches us to steer our inner spotlight towards long-term goals, rather than just the brightest, most immediate flash. It's all connected. Inner focus on our values and goals, self-control to achieve them, and the ability to manage our attention in a world full of distractions.
Wow, Jamie, this has really shifted my perspective. I always thought focus was just something you either had or you didn't, or something that was constantly under attack. But understanding that it's a muscle, that there are different kinds, and that we can actively train it, that's incredibly empowering.
That's the big idea, Alex. Your attention is your most valuable resource, your inner spotlight. You don't have to be a victim of constant distractions. By understanding the 3 kinds of focus, inner, other, and outer, and by practicing simple methods like mindful breathing, creating dedicated focus times, and even allowing for intentional mind wandering, you can strengthen that mental muscle. You can choose where to shine your spotlight, allowing you to live a more engaged, creative, and fulfilling life.
I feel like I have a new toolkit now. Instead of feeling overwhelmed by all those browser tabs, I can start to gently close some and focus on the one that truly matters. And maybe schedule some creative mind-wandering time for my mischievous assistant.
Exactly. It's all about intentionality and gentle, consistent practice. Thanks for joining us on this journey to master your inner spotlight.
And thank you, Jamie, for always making these big ideas so clear and relatable. What a fascinating conversation.
My pleasure, Alex. And to all our curious minds out there, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep shining that amazing inner spotlight of yours.
See you next time.
Goodbye for now.